Hi everyone, and welcome back to Leadership Strategies in the Workplace. This week, we're going to be talking about equity. But first, I wanted to clarify the difference between equity and equality because the two terms often get confused or mixed up when we're talking about the workplace. So equality is what people would say, everyone gets treated the same, so this is fair, right? Equity means everyone is treated just a little bit differently, but it's based on their needs, their motivations, social and economic status and function, right? So equity is a little bit different in terms of equality. With equity, you're giving people resources and support that they need to get the same or equal footing as someone else. So that's the difference. And I want you to think about how both of these show up in your immediate workplace and how they show up in your organization. One of the things to think about is equity is but one of 4 different steps along a continuum. So let's talk about those steps. The first notch on this continuum is diversity. And we've talked about diversity a lot. Remember, it's about difference. It's about variety. So when you're thinking about diversity, you're integrating it into your retention efforts, your marketing efforts, your learning and development efforts, your professional development efforts. So are you bringing in people that look different than you in terms of age, race, religion, sex, sexual orientation? You want to make sure that you have different people from different walks of life with different experiences coming to your table. So that's your diversity piece. The second notch on that continuum is inclusion. Not only do you need to bring in diverse perspectives, but you want to make sure you're including them in the plan for the organization's future, in the plan for your department's future. What does that inclusion look like? Are you bringing in voices that are not only different than yours, but you're allowing people to bring in kind of authentic, honest, transparent, critical feedback, suggestions, ideas, opinions, and strategies to support your organization and to help it be successful, to help it sustain over time, and to help it be reflective of the global workforce. So that's the second stop along this continuum. And then we have equality, where every employee, diverse, inclusive, every employee has the equal ability to have opportunities at success, to have opportunities for professional growth and development, to have opportunities to climb the ladder in an organization and to contribute in a meaningful, intentional, strategic way. So that's where you're bringing in that equality. And then, and only then, only when you have a diverse environment, you have an inclusive workspace and an inclusive organization, you have an organization that values, supports, respects, and implements equal practices and procedures and strategies, then will that lead to equity. So it's like building a house. You have the first foundation, which is diversity. And then once you've really mastered that, then you make sure that all of your practices are inclusive. And then once you've mastered that and you've got diversity and you've got inclusion, then you ensure that your practices allow for equality. Everybody has an equal opportunity for success in the organization. And then your roof for your structure, which should be pretty sound by now, is equity. And here's the kicker. People think, gosh, our diversity and inclusion officer or our team that's supposed to be supporting diversity and inclusion, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's not happening fast enough. It's not going to happen quickly unless you already have an environment, a department, a program that's living in that state. Equity is a state. It's not one step or another step. It's a state of being. It's kind of a holistic state of being. So you've got to understand how we even got to this place where we're working on building diversity, building inclusion, building opportunities for equality, and then creating an equitable workspace. So equity is kind of the end point, right? It's a holistic view. It's a holistic approach. Once you've already incorporated, you have to find the root cause as to why those opportunities for diversity, inclusion, and equality are not happening in the organization. You have to peel back all the layers. You have to figure that piece out and what your role is in making sure that we're creating these opportunities for every employee in the organization. And once you've peeled back all those layers, and that can be a painful process because you have to be accountable for how we got here. You have to figure out a strategy. You have to make sure that it's entrenched in every department. You have to make sure that you have key senior leadership, CE and C-suite leadership, understanding and support and buy-in. And then you have to start to build. So if you find that you're tripping up or that you're experiencing some disappointments or some setbacks, just know maybe you haven't dug deep enough yet. Don't start with equity if you don't already have diversity, inclusion, and opportunities or practices or strategies for equality. Equity is kind of the end point. It's kind of the roof for the structure that you're building, but you have to go way back to identify if this is a priority for your department or a priority for you or a priority for your organization. Only after you've done that can you start to create an organization and a workplace that's equitable. And remember, this isn't something that's going to happen with one step, with one action, with one strategy or one practice. This is something that you have to work on every single day. But if you do it right, it becomes so entrenched in your organization and in the practices that your employees engage in that people will walk that walk. It'll build employee engagement, it'll build retention, and it'll lead to organizational evolution and sustainability. So thank you for joining me this week as we talked about equity in the workplace. Next week, we're going to talk about inclusion. And if you'd like more information or some one-on-one consultation, please feel free to contact me at Melanie@Engage and Lead, or go ahead and leave a comment here on this YouTube channel. I look forward to seeing you. Take care, everyone.